One of the last things I want to get into is the notion of effectiveness and the ability to accomplish something. And then there are people who listen who will go to a Ron Paul speech and say, I like a lot of what he says, and it makes sense to me. But well, can that realistically ever happen? People in Washington would never do that. And we look to your own balanced budget plan, which balanced the budget in 5 years and actually cut spending. And it didn't come close to passing realistically. Is it too hard to do the right thing? Is it possible politically?
If not now, when? If not me, who? I mean, somebody's got to do it. And I think that as times get worse, maybe more people are elected, or maybe the people who are there become more conscious that they have to do something. You're seeing some even Democrat-led governments in states who are now saying, gosh, our pension is untenable. I think it was either Rhode Island or one of the states up here recently has changed. It was Rhode Island. Changed something with their pension, and they're completely state-run by the Democrats. But they finally recognized we just can't give unlimited pensions to people in state government because there's not enough working people to pay for all this. This is going on everywhere. That was a big fight in Wisconsin. It's been a big fight in Ohio. We have the same problem in Kentucky. The pensions are unfunded, and they're overwhelming state governments, particularly in a recession. It's more obvious that even without a recession, governments are foundering under this great weight of these pensions. But will there come a time? If there's a crisis, people will change. I also think that government in general lags a few years behind the people. I think there was a revolution in this country, really in 2010, an electoral revolution, but still the people in Washington, they heard it, and they're listening to a certain extent. We still need another election. We need another big wave. If in 2012 we send 50 or 60 new people to the House again, then maybe you'd start to see some change.
This is sort of an unfair question, but I'm going to
ask. I'm not going to answer.
All right. So let's say, just for the sake of argument, that for some fluke, Ron Paul doesn't become president of the United States this year. There are a lot of people who think that in 4 years or 8 years that maybe Rand Paul might run for president. Is that in the cards?
Well, I think that we got to do first things first, and first things first is I'm here trying to help my dad, and that's what I'm going to continue doing. And I can't answer any questions beyond that, other than to say that I am interested in the national debate, and a lot of what I do is talking with think tanks like the Bartlett think tank. We've got a Bluegrass Policy Institute in Kentucky. I am interested in the long-range goals of changing the country, having more limited federal government, having more local control of our government. And you do that by appearing in the media, speaking to groups around the country, sometimes running for national office, or maybe in the Senate. To me, it's a great privilege to be able to represent Kentucky in the Senate.
I would keep you for a couple of hours and talk to you, but a lot of other people want to talk to you too, so we're going to have to let you go. But I want to let you close with what are the 2 or 3 things that people, as they approach the polls on Tuesday in the presidential race, ought to be thinking about?
Well, I think if people are worried about the debt and they want someone who would truly cut federal spending, who's not going to nibble around the edges, but would send programs back to the states and would say, I am going to cut the size and scope of government, there's really only one candidate who would dramatically change the future of our country by restoring fiscal soundness.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And I want to end with that, but on this other note, that we're not just privileged to be talking to Senator Paul today, but we're privileged to be at the draft, and who have a lot of TVs downstairs if you happen to like football games. And I'll have to say that their burger on a ciabatta roll has been a New Hampshire primary institution since Senator Taft had it in 1952. And
I'll tell you what I like about the draft is there's no sign in the window that says no politicians. I can't go to a restaurant and say no politicians.
Well, this ain't Portsmouth, so thank you.